Oh, cute doggy. All right, so what I wanted to talk about. Guess where I was yesterday?
Where were you?
I was in. I was about to swear.
You were in Florida. I thought you were going to say you were in Florida. I was like, what were you doing down there?
No, I was about to say an expletive that would be contrary to our PG-13
it's fine.
attempt.
It's fine. No, it's just fine if they slip out. We just try not to.
That's fair. That's fair.
We're just trying not to close doors, if you know what I mean.
Right. Well, I was in Madison yesterday.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm glad. But now we finally got there.
Yeah. I was in Madison. I played 2 Adventure League games yesterday.
Oh wow.
Yeah. It finally happened. I was finally
You were finally a player in Adventure League.
In an actual Adventure League game.
Yeah, a real one, not
a real
whatever
one.
fake one we talked about, which you can find our story about that up here.
Did I point in the right direction? I didn't even know.
Well, see, luckily, now with this monitor, it's really easy to tell which side of the screen we're going to be on.
That's fair.
Because it's a big monitor.
Oh, man.
It's not the tiny screen on my GH5.
All I had to do in order to get in a game was drive an hour and 6 minutes. That's the only commitment I had to do.
To be fair, you would have been in one, but you were like, oh crap, I have to be on a cruise.
That's true. Yes. Oh man, I would have been several if I didn't go
now
down
you
Crest.
Came back, you gave all those people Corona.
Right. Oh,
and luckily we can't get demonetized for saying Corona.
Hey, but yeah, so that happened, and there was a brief moment where I was terrified. Like I went into the store, they're like, "Are you guys running AL games?" And the cashier says, "Yeah, of course. We have Tails right there." And then the guy who's next to the cashier, who doesn't work there, he didn't have a uniform or anything, but he was like, "Yeah, we're running some AL games." I'm like, "Cool. What tier are you guys running?" And the first thing he said was, "What?" And there was a brief sinking feeling.
Like, no, not again.
Exactly. Where they would be like, "Oh, we're not doing tiers. We're just doing everybody all at once," and all that. And that brief moment of terrifying, like
fear.
I drove an hour for this. And I repeated again, like, "What tiers are you guys running?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, we have 2 tier 1s over there, 2 tier 2s, and a tier 3. And I stopped. Because nobody runs a tier 3 game.
That's right. You don't see that outside of like a convention.
Exactly. I was so surprised. I was there like, this is where I need to be.
I can die now.
Exactly. Pull out a gun. Just shot myself in the mouth. But yeah. And then
I made a joke with my mom yesterday. We were at a Mexican restaurant and they had like little Corona can like things on the like one of them on the ceiling, and actually one was on a table. I assume it broke at some point.
Nice.
This is a very small town-esque type place. So
those are often the best. But yes, continue.
Yeah. And it was I was making the joke with mom. I was like, "You think that's bad for business to be promoting Corona like this?" And I was like, curious question. Do you think Corona's market share has either gone up or down? I imagine their technical search has gone up.
Yes.
But I wonder if their market share has suffered as a result.
I think it's only suffered a little bit for people who are really dumb. But it's also escalated at points because people are being really dumb and being like, "Let's drink Corona to celebrate the coronavirus, folks."
Haha, meme.
Yeah.
Meme. Speaking of,
speaking
of harming yourself a little bit, welcome to the Tilted World Podcast.
Hey, there we go. Brought to you by Natural One RPG. It's been a while, guys.
It is, at least for you, yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God, I am no longer on the run from the law. I had to go through 3 different governments in order to come back to this, to the United States, and it's been great. I just can't, live within 500 feet of a government building.
How far these veterans fall. God.
But oh man, that made it sound
even
worse.
You know what you missed just before you came back?
Hit me with it.
We got the announcement for Theros.
Oh my God, yes.
So I think I talked briefly about some of the recent UA and stuff in the last episode, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
But part of that, inevitably, Theros.
Hey.
What?
Right?
Crazy. Yo.
Oh my God.
But yeah, no, that book got announced, and I think it's going to be pretty sweet. It also, one of the things that I immediately thought of is, and we talked about with the group of people from our outside the show group, is good job. Is
I was a little bit
that because they before even I mentioned it, went into the same hypothesis that you did, which was that a lot of the things that are coming out are seemingly look like they are leading towards Spelljammer.
It's oh man, there's so much evidence now. We have a new setting in Theros. We have Everon that was released last year.
Evidence.
Baldur's Gate 3 has Nautiloids, I believe they're called.
A space octopus spaceship.
Yes,
that's the best. That's the name that it needs to be called.
Exactly.
I don't need these official Mind Flayer names. All I need is they're the space octopi, and this is their space octopus spaceship.
I'm ready. I am ready. But until then, Theros looks amazing.
It does. The alternate cover specifically is probably one of the best that I have seen. I was a little bummed that there seemingly wasn't a Wildbound alternate cover.
Yeah.
But because I thought that could have been cool.
That would have been amazing too.
But the Theros one does look awesome. And
it does.
It does lead to my consistent two questions about any type of setting-esque book.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, is this actually going to go to AL? Signs point to no. Which is always a bummer, because it goes to my problem that there hasn't been a subclass added to AL since Anastar's.
Yeah.
And then number 2, which is answerable, but it's the, kind of where does it fit into the narrative? And based on the symbol that is attached that you can see onto the cover, and obviously by somewhat of its name, obviously it is being part of the magic into D&D thing that Wizards is trying to do. And I do think that's a good thing. I very much think that because of they started with Ravnica. If they never did it again, it would have been a wasted opportunity for them to put their brand and that market share together.
Yes.
So I'm glad they're going back to it. It's just not right away and not necessarily the same way.
Mm-hmm. I believe the words I said when I saw the alternate cover though was Celeste. Celeste being my my girlfriend of 3 years. Have you ever seen a book cover so beautiful that you just started crying? She, of course, said no, and I began to cry. So it's just amazing. The book itself, the original cover was fantastic. Is still fantastic. To look at the vanilla version
with it's Space Hydra and whatnot.
Oh my God, it's so great. And then I forgot what the subclasses are being introduced in this. I believe they briefly.
I'm gonna double check the official ones.
Yeah.
That they noted.
But I'm excited because apparently Theros is very much Greek centric, and we've all grew up reading Greek myths, I assume, and or reading the Percy Jackson books.
Yeah, if it didn't come out through, if you weren't forced to through like your school system to learn about it one way or another, we probably have seen it.
Exactly, everybody knows Greek myths. Zeus, Hera, the fire one. But all
right, so we're looking at the subclasses they have confirmed, though plenty of the ones that were in AL are probably also going to be confirmed. But it's going to be the College of Eloquence for Bard, Masters of Oratory. I don't know. I think that's the subtitle. Sorry. Mm-hmm. And the Paladin's Oath of Glory. Though because of the Oratory, I think the School of Onomancy is probably going to make its way to this book just by how similar it is to what Eloquence is doing. But true. I also do wonder because they talk about. I thought they mentioned. Oh yeah, and they're also going to be bringing in the Satyr and the Leonin.
Oh man. Oh, Onomancy was the school involving names, right?
Yeah, essentially. I was gonna say it might as well. It's grammar, the magic.
I love it. Oh man, there's something really cool about true names that I've always fell in love with, mainly because I love working with devils, and what they all do. But that's completely outside the point. My personal life aside. Yeah, no, I'm very excited. Satyrs. I'm very curious to see what their stats are.
Yeah, because we have added the Minotaur. So now we just need to take a goat and just swap the sides, and you've got a satyr.
Exactly.
But so I'll be interested to see as well, because that and we've had the centaur.
That's true. Yeah.
So we've gotten a centaur. Now we need to get the satyr.
So yeah, now we're just getting a bunch. We already have. They've been sneaking in the typical archetypical Greek creatures here and there. So now we'll see what happens with this book, what they have for it. I have no idea what the Theros setting is. Mm-hmm. But another thing that they mentioned there was
my magic lore is not amazing.
Mm-hmm. And we asked some guys not too long ago about it. They also have no idea.
Well, they were self-admittedly not as lore heavy either. We have probably it would be more known by one of our friends from our game shop, who's probably going to be the better one. He started talking about it when we brought it up, but the conversation shifted really quickly because it went into the whole thing.
Of the game shop, yeah. You guys had a omniscient iguana now in that game, from what you've told me.
Well, we did read this last Monday night, so it was the that. And I'll be there later today, but I do love this campaign that I'm a part of that I DM on for this group on Mondays.
That's true. But yeah, this book is supposed to come out June 20th, 21st?
I think it was 20th, yeah.
20th. So that means it's not the September release. So we should be looking at another book being released in September.
Yep.
One potentially released in November. So we have 2 more books this year. The one in September will most likely be in the AL new season.
Yeah.
Which
I'm hoping probably be some type of adventure.
I'm hoping that's the
plan. Because to be fair, we're getting 2 campaign settings in a row.
Yes.
Granted, neither of them are going to AL anyway. So in terms of the actual canon aspect, who knows? And yes, they have not confirmed that none of these 2 books are going to AL yet, but logic tells us.
Exactly.
History and logic tell us that they're not going into the game. But hey, most people probably still play homebrew, so I think it'll be fine. So for my own purposes, I'm super excited for both. Mm-hmm. Just even because Theros does look like what I really like about it is it does look like it's just going to be adding a whole lot of these, like definitely Stars Druid, the new Circle of the Stars has to be coming in. And I talked about this in a last podcast, but I really hope that new Ranger subclass goes into it. I love the Ranger subclass, and on our Thursday group that I'm a part of, this coincidentally the guy who knows the most about Magic, he is playing he's not playing that Ranger, that UA Ranger.
Yep.
But he is playing a Ranger, it's been really funny how critically useful his skills have been so far. It's really funny, but it's just because we're starting this campaign in his favorite terrain, and so obviously, like, I know in terms of power users, there's definitely going to be some fall off, but it somewhat has made me want to go into some type of discussion in the future, and I think at some point we should make a video about it when maybe around GaryCon, because I think one thing there's a way that I'd like to make the video that I think would be really fun. So I think we could do that one day during GaryCon. But other than that, the main thing that I really like about it is just that, or one thing that I just always find interesting is that it continues to challenge my perception of, even because honestly, the revised Ranger didn't really change a whole lot.
No.
It was mostly for Beastmaster.
Yeah.
And Beastmaster inherently got fixed by them just qualifying that in new versions of the book, it would get printed, and then in D&D Beyond, it now qualifies that, your creature takes the dodge action by default.
Oh yeah,
so it doesn't just do nothing.
the Aranta is,
or it doesn't die immediately.
Oh man. One of these days we just gotta one of us, probably be me because I'm crazy like that. We'll just buy the new edition of the book and be like, let's see what the differences are.
I mean, they've labeled out like, and they did something for the PHP that I think that they should just do in the future for better editions or like any changes or like a PHP 2 type thing.
Yeah.
And I talked about this in a previous episode where I was saying a smart thing to do is just what they did with the first revision, which was just say, here's what the changes are, so you know what is changing from these editions of the book, and you have the digital version of the book, so we're just changing that for you, and that's it. Like, and so if they were hesitant to do a real like PHP 2. That's something that they could do as an alternative. Just be like, here's a PHP 2. It's an updated version. It's the most updated version of a PHP. So if somebody's new, they could just buy this book. Or you could keep your old book, have that as a reference, but just know that these things are new and updated.
Right. Other than that, Player's Handbook 2, hopefully.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a hard say because I think as a whole, Wizards has kind of clearly understood that they are very much in need of dialing back the amount of books that they put out for 3.5. Like they just like crapped out books like so many of them. There's just a bunch of books that nobody uses or probably even knows about.
Right.
But and like there's like 3 players handbooks and but like, to be fair, that doesn't mean it's bad. Like Pathfinder put out a bunch of books, but I think like a lot of them have their use as well. And a lot of the DM books, like there's 3 bestiaries. Like that's just sometimes it's the nature of the beast that you just got to do that.
That's true.
And because you don't sometimes need an adventure book for like everything. Sometimes maybe you just put out like individual adventures like you used to.
Right.
Who's to say?
Although it would be nice to have a book with everything from all the other like offshoot books, like Tome of Foes, the Tiefling variants, the Elven variants, the monster races from Bolos, just all coalesced in one book, just for an AL thing. But that's just me.
I would argue. Well, my argument would be that they should just be lifting restrictions, but
yeah.
At least for races, like, it's just like pick a race. Who gives a shit? like at some point they're adding so many races that do get put into AL that it's just kind of like, all right, like I am now being hampered because like I want to be an Eladrin,
the very best.
But like I don't want to be limited by PHP sorcerer
or by
like I want to be an Eladrin sorcerer. But I don't want to be limited by PHP subclasses they're fine. Like Draconic is definitely one of the best sorcerers. But maybe I want to be a divine sorcerer, Like maybe I want to kind of rehash my favorite soul-esque feels, and you can't do that otherwise, which kind of sucks.
Exactly. Plus spells, like you can't pick the spells from Xanathars, which are the best ones.
Hey, what's up with that?
Yeah. To put in perspective, Xanathars has this amazing spell that I found out again not too long ago, Guardian of Nature. Either makes you really good at attacking or really, really sturdy, and as a bonus action. It's a level 4 spell though. And it's really nice if you're a druid. Can't use it if you've chosen a variant.
Yeah, so we're calling you out again.
Yeah.
Wizards, update your damn rules. You're too restrictive now. You've put out too much content.
Oh, that's why.
I mean, hell, even PHP plus 2 instead of 1 would solve pretty much everything.
True.
Or even just PHP Xanathars plus 1. Even that, because just Xanathars, you made too good of a book. I'm sorry. You screwed yourself, I guess, in that you made it too good of a book. And now we expect that in terms of our updates. And so I'm sorry, but you gotta deal with your own problem. You can't punish us because you screwed up.
That's true.
And you didn't even screw up. You made a great book. Don't punish us because you made a good book. So that's the one thing. But I haven't really had to worry about it too much because I haven't played AL in quite some time now.
Yeah, I'm still hoping Planescape, man.
Yeah,
Spelljammer.
Speaking of traversing realms of space, I've been learning Starfighter.
Yes, you have.
I have been thoroughly enjoying my embarking into the Starfinder kind of world, the way it plays, especially because one of the things that I kind of liked about it that I almost kind of forgot about because of how reliant we've kind of become on D&D Beyond.
Yeah.
That I kind of missed the semi kind of scrappy nature of trying to find resources online that like, oh man, like I can't really use all these. I can't buy all of these books, but like I want to be able to DM without nothing. So I got to find, like, sometimes like for Pathfinder, I used to have this thing called Combat Manager that somebody made, where they just put all of the like SRP and even a couple other like creatures and stuff like that into this Combat Manager. It's very much like the encounter ability that's in D&D Beyond, but it was for Pathfinder and it worked great. I loved it so much. It made figuring out combat as a DM super easy, as a new DM super easy, because I used it when I started to DM. So that's how I got to it helped me kind of figure out and keep track of everything, because it can be real complicated when you don't have some type of combat manager. And I didn't find luck in finding one of those necessarily for Starfinder, unfortunately. But I was able to find like a few websites that just have, like some databases and useful information and stuff like that. And even Roll20 does have its own like repository. Like even to this day, I oftentimes, that if I'm looking for a monster, or like something, a lot of times I do kind of hang back to, not anymore as much now that the encounter ability has gotten a lot better, but I would still go to Roll20 for like its monster lists. So I could just find beasts in terms of ones that I could potentially know or transform into, when we didn't really worry about, like, in many homebrew systems where we didn't really worry about like exactly what you've seen. The only time I ever really worried about that was when we did Dark Matter, because I was like, the universe is infinite. Having you be able to transform into literally anything possible is too OP. There's a problem when it goes to space. But in terms of like Earth, I didn't see a huge problem with it. So, or at least like Homeworld or whatever. Right. I didn't see a problem with it. And then old Terran-esque creatures that would be more, populous in like spaceports and whatnot. So that was the one thing, but it's similarly, yeah, it's just like it was fun to find these scrappiness of trying to find as much info as I can and resources to use and stuff. So it's been really interesting, because it's a type of system that I've always semi kind of pondered for and kind of missed. Not that, because it's not that 5e is bad. I had a discussion with a cosplayer I met, Wildheart cosplay, I believe is her IG. I'm really sorry. Wildheart. Wildheart.
I'm sorry. The first thing that came up on his Instagram was a shirtless guy just laying on the bed, and I'm like, yes, that sounds about right. Cosplayers are great.
Yeah, they were. Oh, I mean, that person, they were super nice.
Yes.
I was talking with Wildheart about, because she made a story about like, kind of was one of meme. I mean, it was just a small meme. She also plays 5e, so it's not like there was any hard feelings. But there was kind of a meme about how, 5e, it was like a meme about like how all of the mainstream and everybody has, 5e and everything like that. And it's just like me over here in my corner with Pathfinder, just like with a little book and chart or something like that. I don't remember the exact meme, but it raised a solid question to me, because, we did Dark Matter, and obviously we talked about, even when we stopped doing it, that we would potentially go back. And the question I was trying to figure out is maybe when is that good time, and pondering maybe how could I do it in a way that would make me more satisfied with it.
Right.
Sorry. But that was the big thing, was that I started to think about it, and I was kind of like, well, maybe I would also enjoy, I've also been missing kind of the things that I had with Pathfinder, just because it has a different level of content.
Yeah.
There's more than one class that's outside of the player's handbook. And I mean, obviously Starfinder doesn't fix that. But it was just one of those things where it got me thinking about, like, I had a really good time going away from 5e for a period of time in our Thursday groups.
Mm-hmm.
We played Stars Without Number. We talked about that. I played Godbound. I tried the Maid RPG once. And they were all really fun. And it was what was nice was that, like, I didn't have this, like, gigantic predisposition about everything, and there was no, like, baseline to all of what I thought. And that's kind of something that I think I've been liking about learning about Starfinder, is that I don't have any of these predispositions.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be fun. I definitely want to try to find a way just to run it with a group of people outside of the show, but I would never want to bring it to the show until
we all know how to do it.
Yeah, people are comfortable playing it, or comfortable at least enough that they're still learning while playing, but not like, what is everything?
Exactly. Like, how do I move? What is this?
Luckily, that's the same. But hey, if anything, if you have any RPGs that you potentially like us to play, comment down below. We would love to hear your suggestions on RPGs that you'd like us to either play or see. As we have in the coming future here, our Friday show is going to have a couple changes.
Yeah.
So here's our immediate semi-announcement time. Woo! So in the month of April, I will be absent. You thought Franny going to a cruise for a week was bad.
Marshall's leaving for a longer time.
I'm leaving for a month.
Yeah, for good reasons. He's not escaped the law. He actually...
I will not be running from the law, but I will be helping running. Hey! I will be working for a group called MS Run the US. They are a charity. I will actually link their website in the bottom of this video. You can go check them out and donate and find potentially any of the runners and whatnot that will be raising funds for MS, multiple sclerosis. It's one of the biggest, one of the diseases that definitely has the biggest amount of word jumble.
That's true, yeah.
But I've definitely known a number of people in my life with MS. So this was being able to have this potential opportunity to, this isn't going to it's not like I'm doing this because I'm going to make, millions and thousands of dollars or anything. Like, I took this job mainly because I wanted to support the cause and the realm and funding for MS. And this was just something that I thought would be a really fun way for me to do that, which is to tell stories of runners who are essentially in a nationwide relay across the United States. Hence why it's the Run the US.
Right.
So I will be going to LA up and pretty much taking a big old camper through up into Salt Lake City, where I'll be back by the 5th. So that'll be fun.
Right.
But soon enough, I'll be starting up training sessions for it, and it'll be a good time.
Yeah, no,
I'm really excited.
And we're very excited for Marshall too.
But that does mean, obviously, the Ever Crescent Moon will not be on those Fridays for a month.
No,
we'll be taking we will essentially be taking a spoiler alert, I guess, in a way. Our season finale is going to be coming up, and our season break, instead of it being like 2 weeks or so, is going to instead be a month.
That's true. I had the excuse of the end of the year. He has the excuse of being gone for work.
Yes, going to work.
Yes.
So it's definitely going to be. So there will be content, though. Our stream will still be happening. It will be our players have yet to finalize exactly what is going to be there, but one of the things that I know they have discussed is potentially playing another RPG.
Right.
So that is something, again, please let us know in the comments below if there are any that you would like to potentially see hit them up, and maybe it'll be one that they'll be able to pick up quickly enough and shoot out.
That's true. And if nothing then you'll just see me play computer games during that time slot. Maybe. We'll see. The Pathfinder games are pretty nice. Yeah, I've already told you about those.
Yeah. And then they're coming out with a new one for its 2nd edition.
I know, it's really great. But yeah, don't worry, we're not losing Marshall forever. He will still be here. We will miss him, and I will definitely miss him because I have to run everything now.
So the podcast, suddenly the podcast will form from even just potentially just me sometimes to being just him.
It's a cruel justice.
We are going to try to get more of our Natural One folks into more content as well soon. So we may soon actually even inevitably find a way that it may not look exactly like this in the future, depending on how things go. There are going to be plenty of changes in this coming year, and I think what I am partly looking forward to this me leaving is that in a way it's going to be somewhat of a kickstart for potentially getting people more involved that want to be because it's really easy for us being so far away from everyone else that we get in our own headspace where we just are trying to get this content done on our own. So soon enough, you'll be seeing more from our Natural One folk that are in the shows on our content on this channel. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be awesome. And I'm super excited to have everybody involved in the future. At least that wants to be.
That's true.
We're not forcing anyone to do anything.
We have to legally say that. But yes.
Get back in there.
We hear Dylan scream in the background.
What were we? Oh yeah, because we're on Thursday. We're playing a giant campaign where we are all giants. And giants, if you don't know in the lore of D&D, especially pre Tiamat, like lore and whatnot, they had like this ordning, but then they also had they like to potentially enslave the small folk.
Yeah.
So obviously, if we are playing giants in that era, then we're going to see that a little bit, and we played off obviously in a funny way. It's obviously really terrible,
right?
But these are just the more intricate things that you do in a game to not make it so bad, because we are the giants anyway. Well, we play sympathetic giants, to be fair. Not all of us, but some of us. But this fire giant had like a bunch of elves that they captured.
Yeah.
And it was like this elf, like John is describing, like it's looking around in wonderment. And then a fire giant just like cracks it out, just stop looking in wonderment.
We're terrible people.
We are, but you know what? So are giants.
Exactly.
Not all giants, but some of them.
Right. Hashtag not all giants.
Hashtag not all giants. But yeah, so that's something that's been that's something at least I'm looking forward to. But what I was not looking forward to was the end of this podcast.
Oh man, I'm glad to be back. But we do have to wrap this up. Mm-hmm. Hey guys, next week something exciting is going to happen that we'll tell you once we've lived through it. I guess it involves one of our fantastic cast members. I won't spoil it until next week.
Well, if you haven't, if anything, you I guess most people probably don't know where her Instagram is.
Yeah,
we should be putting the rest of our crew into descriptions.
All right, here's the credits.
We'll fix that in the future.
Just rolling over my face. Giving you more work as an editor here.
That's not happening. I'm going to tell you now. There's going to be nothing.
All right, but yeah.
I'm going to zoom in on your face. That's what I'm going to do.
This has been a Tilt a Roll podcast brought to you by Natural One RPG.
Right.
Sponsors include
no one. So long.
Bye.
But one of the things that I don't like about it is that you are not getting necessarily a perfect readout of the challenge rating system that they've created. They add these CRs, but they've kind of made an arbitrary difficulty because it very much depends on your party structure and what your parties are.